In the early 1960s, Reuben Anderson decided that his son Lee, a recent West Point graduate, should prepare to take over the family's successful St. Paul plumbing business. To provide Lee with a little business experience, Reuben gave him a stake in a small insulation company he also owned, Asbestos Products, Inc. Lee planned to spend a few weeks at Asbestos Products, Inc., that's API for short, to learn the business. And he stayed there, thwarting his father's plans for him. And in the next 44 years, he turned API into a $1.5 billion family of companies that provide the commercial construction industry with steel fabricators, electrical services, fire protection equipment, garage doors, and a variety of other products needed for large-scale construction. Within 4 years of taking over API, Lee Anderson purchased Sasco, a maker of steel coverings for building insulation. And later that year, he bought Industrial Sprinkler Corporation. And he kept buying Viking Automatic Sprinkler in 1985, Western States Fire Protection and 2 steel fabricators in 1989, and a dozen fire protection companies in the western United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom in 1998. He bought more than 40 companies in 40 years, picking up the pace of acquisition in the 1980s and 1990s, forever adding to the long list of services that API could offer to any given major construction job. It's altogether possible that you haven't heard of API, or perhaps heard of it for the first time in 2007 when Anderson and his wife Penny made a $60 million gift last fall to the University of St. Thomas. As Anderson explains, we don't put our company logo on any other businesses we buy, and we never change the names of the businesses we buy. That's because if Anderson doesn't think a company has a good product and a good reputation under its existing name, API won't buy it. But when API does buy other companies, it can often improve the way they do business by introducing them to the best practices of other companies within API, often making the new companies more productive and profitable. At age 69, Anderson spends just a few hours a day with API's existing businesses, but he remains active in API acquisition efforts. His motivation, he says, is the sheer joy of being able to look at what they've done right and how to make them better. Gary Holmes has always had a talent for making money. At age 12, he sold light bulbs door to door and eventually had 50 Boy Scout troops selling for him. At 16, he bought his first rental property, an apartment in South Minneapolis. Within a few years, he owned properties that were making him $400,000 a year. When he turned 21, his assets were so substantial that his lawyers advised him to draw up an estate plan. Today, he's the CEO and sole owner of the CSM Corporation, an $800 million real estate development and management company that he founded in 1976. CSM has a portfolio of 200 residential, commercial, industrial, retail, and hotel properties in 16 states. A subsidiary owns and operates 39 hotels under Hilton, Marriott, and Carlson brands. He's pleased with his acquisition of a Howard Johnson hotel in Woodbury and its transformation into an award-winning Country Inn. He's also proud of his $93 million renovation of the Milwaukee Road Depot in Minneapolis, named Minnesota's Project of the Year by the American Institute of Architects. He has made his work look easy. It wasn't. In his youth, he had severe attention deficit disorder and was profoundly dyslexic. He remembers the embarrassment of waiting for a so-called dumb bus to take him to classes labeled special. He graduated from a public high school in the bottom 2% of his class. He was smarter than he seemed. His friend Ralph Hegman says he has an incredible ability to focus on a project, to create and follow a plan. Harold Reutenberg, the former head of modern merchandising, calls him a brilliant businessman. Others have called him honest, sincere, open, and generous. He plans to expand the Holmes Family Foundation to $60 million within the next few years to fund health and education programs. In 2007, he provided $6 million to support research and the teaching of entrepreneurship at the University of Minnesota's School of Management, where he is a frequent lecturer. And 2 years ago, he bought a farm in Monticello to build a charter school for kids with learning difficulties. Gary Holmes found his talent for business early, and now he's helping others develop theirs. No one calls him by his last name. Horst Brekke is known simply as Horst here in Minnesota and throughout much of the world. He's an icon, a man who's employed his creative genius for more than 40 years, first with Horst & Friends, then with Aveda, and now with Intelligent Nutrients, his new health and beauty company. His philosophy's always been simple: health and beauty are one. He was born in Austria in 1941, the son of a shoemaker father and an herbalist mother. At age 14, he began a 3-year apprenticeship in hairstyling, and in succession won 3 junior national competitions. Other kids went to the beach, he says. I practiced. I loved it so much. At 20, he won the European Hairstyling Championship and began to travel with an agent through Europe and the United States, taking on wealthy, well-known clients and making $500 a day, a princely sum in 1962. But in 1964, Hearst's Jaguar was rear-ended by a drunk driver in Minneapolis, leaving him with fractured vertebrae and $15,000 in debt. He stayed in Minnesota to recover and pay off his debt, opening a hair salon and then 3 more, and then his first hairstyling training studio, which later became the Aveda Institute. He launched Aveda in 1978 with only 2 employees. In 1981, sales exceeded $1 million. By the mid-90s, it exceeded $100 million, and Horst was selling his own blends of plant-based products through 25,000 stores, spas, and salons. When he sold Aveda to Estee Lauder in 1997 for $300 million cash, he thought he was ready to relax. He opened a small store in the uptown area of Minneapolis to sell organic foods, drinks, and supplements. Soon, he began to develop personal care products again: shampoo, lip balm, body lotion, entirely from organic, food-based ingredients. No petrochemicals, he says, because anything you put on your skin or lips immediately goes into your bloodstream. In 2006, he launched Intelligent Nutrients, opening a store, a research laboratory, an education center, and a restaurant in Aveda's original factory in northeast Minneapolis. Stores in New York will open soon, and a joint venture with Regis Corporation will put products in high-end salons. He's guided by advice from his mother, who told him quality is all you need to focus on, and, he says, it was always true for him. Guy Schenecker says he learned most of what he needed to know about business in the little city of Eden Valley, Minnesota, where his father ran a hardware store, a plumbing company, and a funeral home. The central lesson was the profound importance of happy customers. At age 81, he remembers an admonition from his father: when we lose one customer because they were not satisfied, you might lose a whole family. By finding ways to satisfy customers, Schenecker has created a family of businesses under the name BI, which for 30 years stood for Business Incentives. Now it's short for Business Improvement. With 1,000 employees and nearly $500 million in annual revenue, BI ranks 3rd in the United States in the creation of incentive and marketing programs designed to improve employee performance and customer loyalty. In the early 1950s, when the company was newly incorporated, its mix of incentive programs included trading stamps and gift catalogs, and such giveaways as the place settings of China offered to Red Owl grocery store customers. Later, BI added an incentive travel department after determining that travel was more appealing than merchandise as an award for salespeople. Through the years, but especially in the 70s, Guy Scheneker's company often added divisions, sometimes by acquisition, mostly by developing them internally. BI now provides its clients with market research, group travel, employee training, and meeting services. In the late 1990s, it developed a division called Live Marketing, which collects information from potential customers when they're not inside a company's store or showroom. During the past 2 presidential elections, the division assisted the Rock the Vote campaign by interviewing concertgoers and capturing names, addresses, and other information. In 1999, BI won the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. 2 years later, at the urging of customers that included General Motors, it went global, purchasing a company in the United Kingdom that was renamed BI Worldwide and which has since acquired offices in Australia, Singapore, China, and Dubai. Ever-evolving, BI's digital marketing division provides over-the-internet direct marketing services, database management, data mining, and customer segment identification. For one customer, Hewlett-Packard, it developed an online game designed to show commercial printers the advantages of Hewlett-Packard products. Through innovation after innovation and expansion after expansion, Guy Scheneker says BI's fundamental philosophy has never changed. Treat customers well and reward employees who treat customers especially well, just as he learned in Eden Valley. Eugene Sitt was born in China in 1938, and he remembered Japanese planes bombing nearby villages during World War II. By the end of that war, China was in turmoil. In 1946, Chinese gangsters captured Gene and his relatives and held them for 9 months until Gene's father could raise a ransom of $250,000. At one point, the gangsters actually offered to accept a lesser amount if they could keep Gene. They said they thought he had potential. They had no idea how right they were. For the next 60 years, he lived a life of achievement and service. Gene joined his father in the United States at age 9, knowing no English. He completed 12 years of schooling in 8 years, earned a scholarship to DePaul University, and paid his living expenses by working nights at his sister's restaurant. He began his career as a financial analyst with Commonwealth Edison in Chicago. He earned the respect of colleagues when a computer error, not a mistake by Gene as it first appeared, turned out to be the cause of a miscalculation. In 1968, he was recruited to Minneapolis by IDS, where he ran mutual funds, headed international investing, and took charge of the company's trust business. Eager to get out on his own, he started Sitt Investment Associates in 1981 with $1.5 million, a third of it borrowed, and 8 employees. 26 years of 12-hour days later, the company was overseeing more than $7 billion in managed assets for institutions and high-net-worth individuals, running 12 mutual funds. "Our firm has kept it simple," he once said. "We're money managers. We're not going to go into the brokerage business or do underwriting or give financial advice and charge a fee. That's not who we are." A few years ago, a larger money management company offered him $300 million for his company. Sitt said, "No thanks." A wealthy retiree wasn't what he was going to be either. As he explained, "We knew we could do more for the community by being independent and providing leadership." In his company's first year in business, it gave $25,000 to support Minnesota food shelves, and as Sitt Investment grew, so did its contributions and the list of recipients. One project spoke with special intensity of Gene's affection for his adopted country, the Minnesota Military Appreciation Fund, which Gene co-founded in 2005, helping to raise and give away $6 million for families of Minnesota soldiers who have served in combat since the 9/11 attacks. "You don't appreciate what you have," he said, "until you've gone through war." Gene's son Roger has said Gene lived an American dream, and Gene would have agreed. "You have to be willing to work," Gene once advised, "but everything is possible. Everything."